Yes, my friends, welcome back. In the preview today, I'm going to structure things a little bit differently. I'm going to focus solely on the predicted lineup and ENZO MARESCA's massive press conference, as there were so many things to unpack today. So apologies for this video coming out a little later. I was actually finishing another video, but instead I'm thinking I'll release that Felix video tomorrow because I think this video today is a bit more relevant. So I hope you guys enjoy. But before we get into anything, Football Prizes has just released a signed Didier Drogba shirt from the 2012 Champions League final. If you want to own a piece of Chelsea history for yourselves, then click the link below in the description or in the card above to enter the competition, which does close in 6 days' time. Now, tickets normally sell out fast, but as a bonus, there are 15 instant win prizes, including signed memorabilia from John Obi Mikel and Nicholas Anelka. So good luck, my friends. You'll find all the links you need right below. We get straight into the predicted lineup, and as we know, we have our squad A-list for the game tomorrow against Servette. You guys have seen the squad list on screen. Some notable omissions from the squad list, but I think with the team we're set to see tomorrow, it'll be a combination of some first team players who still need to get more game time, understanding Maresca's system, as well as rotation, because we can't be playing games every few days. So as you guys are seeing right now, this is my predicted lineup on screen. Up front, I've gone for Mark Gu. Alongside him, Neto on the left-hand side, Madueke on the right-hand side. My midfield three is Nkunku as the offensive 8, Enzo Fernandez on the opposite side, and Lavia holding that midfield. And in defense, I've gone for Renato Vega, Badiashile, Disasi, Malo Gusto, and Philip Jorgensen in goal. Now, I do think that tomorrow is the best opportunity to give some game time to Jorgensen so we can assess how far he's come since he signed for us. He spent a few weeks now. He understands the setup and Maresca's demands a little bit more. And even though Robert Sanchez made some good saves, you don't consistently get all-round top-class quality that you need to rely upon. So if Jorgensen is serious, there is an opportunity here to fight for that first team spot against Robert Sanchez, and tomorrow is an opportunity that you cannot afford to miss out on. In defense, we've learned that even though Reece James is part of the squad, he won't be playing as he isn't fully fit just yet, even though he only had a minor concern and is already doing training on the field again. So Malo Gusto, I think, will start the game, but I don't think we'll end things. And in defense, I think will be Disasi, Badiashile, that Monaco centre-back duo playing, because Chilwell is part of the B team squad list. So if anyone gets injured, he may come in as like a last-minute solution. And I'm thinking that we'll see Renato Vega start his first game for us at left back. I thought he looked quite decent against Man City. He didn't look like the tempo of the league or the occasion was too big for him. And I think playing against the Swiss opposition that he has experience against already could be a great introduction for him for life in the system. So this now takes us into midfield, and for me, I have to see this midfield three. It's the midfield three I want to see. I think Lavia was taken off early on as a precaution to get him ready for this game. I'm kind of recontextualizing things a bit more. Alongside him, I've gone for Enzo Fernandez on the right side and Nkunku on the left-hand side, or maybe they might be swapped either position. We've seen them play in the same midfields in pre-season, and I thought they looked quite good. And I felt like maybe if Maresca wants one of the offensive 8s to be able to push up a bit higher at times, I mean, it makes sense for Nkunku, no? I think that's his perfect position, and it was a shame that we didn't see him play that way against Man City. I think Enzo Fernandez does have promise in this role. I think he's getting written off a bit too soon, but currently, even though he's showing that he knows how to get in the right positions to maybe take these strikes and goal, I still think his best work actually comes at the moment when it comes to creating moments outside the box compared to finishing moves inside the box. His finishing can improve over time, so don't write him off, but I think that chance creation he offers a bit deeper creates a really good balance with this midfield three. And to complete things, I think I have to see some direct wide threat. I think Palmer will probably get rested for the Premier League game. I think he'll come on as a sub, of course, just to warm up and get some minutes, but I think Maresca's system is actually tailored towards 1v1 direct threat. So Neto will get his debut because this is a key guy for us already, I can feel like. And if he has a great game against Servette, he'll take that confidence forward against Wolves, and I think He'll come back hungry and ready for that game. And I think Madueke was very unlucky not to even get minutes against Man City, but now that time has passed, I think that was done, so he'll start the game against Servette, and he was one of the most consistent performers in pre-season, so don't write Noni off. And I think up front, Mark Yu deserves to start. I think Nicholas Jackson isn't in a state right now where he can be playing 2 games in a row in such a short amount of time. He needs more time to get his match sharpness back. He showed some decent things against City, but Nico still looked quite rusty, in my opinion. And I think Mark Yu could really take advantage of the confidence given to him, especially if this team and this lineup can create the opportunities for him. So that's my predicted lineup. Do you guys agree with me? Do you not? If you don't, share your lineups in the comments below. Now, my friends, we end things by unpacking this massive press conference. We've learned so many things. I think to start things off though, Joao Felix being announced as our new signing. Maresca naturally was going to have some opinions on that, and he revealed that he's a good player. The club knows him from like 2 years ago. Joao is a player that can play in lots of different positions, and that's one thing I like. He can play wide, inside, and as a 9. I wonder how Maresca actually sees him. I'm feeling like Joao Felix will just be that utility attacking player that will kind of play in different positions week in, week out. But I've got a video coming out now tomorrow, so I'll share more of my thoughts in detail then. Maresca gave his thoughts on Conor Gallagher leaving, and when asked if the fans will feel a type of way about him going, Maresca said, "This is a question for the fans. For the last few days and weeks, an agreement has been here, and we kind of knew what was expected for his future, right?" Which is fair enough, Enzo, but he tried to repeat again that many clubs are kind of forced into selling academy players for pure profit, and we must respect the rules. I don't necessarily agree with that notion entirely, but again, once the summer is over, if we haven't met objectives, we have no pure profit now to turn to help us rebuild, so we can't afford any slip-ups this season. Another interesting point of conversation was the captaincy for this season. Obviously, with Chilwell set to leave us, the vice captaincy role is now open, and Maresca is looking towards 4 to 5 individuals to fill that role. We saw Enzo Fernandez captain us against Man City, but he did confirm that Reece James is set to continue as the main club captain. That's decent news, but interestingly too, he also bigged up the captaincy potential of Levi Cole, saying that he's a young, fantastic player, great profile, but he can also learn to step up and take more responsibility. Is Maresca going to look to build Levi up to one day become a future captain in the next 2 to 3 years? That could be the case. He's still quite young, and not every young player is a John Terry. He's just like the captain of all captains, in my opinion. I'm not going to hold him to that same standard, but it's definitely one to watch out for. A journalist asked Maresca if he was quite brutal, and Maresca said no. I'm quite honest. Using the example of Raheem Sterling, I told him before the City game that he'd struggle to get minutes this season, like I told Ben, and I'm just kind of keeping things absolutely real. So I think this now leads us on to the biggest part of the press conference, and we'll be discussing all the questions involving squad size. I know it's been a contentious point within the fan base recently. A lot of us are getting a bit bored by some of the connotations here, but I don't think it's a conversation that can necessarily be shut down that easily. But let's get into things. Maresca confirmed that Raheem Sterling and Ben Chilwell are now training apart, and their situations are clear. The Chelsea players at the moment, but as I've said, they may struggle to get minutes, and maybe leaving is the best thing. I was once a player in a similar situation, and I know what it's like. It's not an easy thing, but you kind of act professional, you kind of move on, and that's exactly what I did when I faced the same adversity during my playing career, and I guess that's a fair comment. Still, he remains coy about whether they would ever play for him again, and I think this is a smart thing, because obviously, let's say hypothetically, we can't find moves of Sterling or Ben. They won't just be outcasted throughout the entirety of the season. There could be possibilities where injuries open up spaces for them to return back to the team, and I think Maresca, of course, understands this, so is kind of leaving the door slightly open in case of this possibility. In case. Still though, we're learning that Raheem Sterling's number 7 shirt is going to be replaced and given now to Pedro Neto, and it's kind of mad that, Sterling hasn't even left yet. you know, he's still a fresh, warm body and we're putting the shirt off him and giving it to someone else. That's how the game is, but to be honest, we all know today that Sterling now is looking for a permanent move and exit away from the football club. So let's see what type of offers we get before this window closes. But I do find it quite interesting though, you know, Maresca has kind of changed his tune a little bit on Sterling. Now, listen, on one hand, he said in the press conference, during pre-season, I gave 1 start to Tyreek George, the 2nd to Mudryk, and the 3rd to Raheem Sterling. So I gave opportunities to really find out the type of winger I'm going to rely upon for this season, which is fair enough. But after that 2-4 defeat against Man City, Maresca was also bigging up Raheem Sterling in that game. You guys are seeing the quotes on screen right now. You know, he was mentioning things such as, you know, he mentioned how Sterling was one of the important players. He mentioned things like it's important that he's given minutes, and I don't see him in any other position than playing as a winger. So I think it's quite obvious that, I think all of us feel this way, the decision to let Sterling go has come from the top. We must clear his wages, get him off the wage bill. Him and Ben are 2 of the highest earning players currently in the team. In the case of Ben, I can even understand why Maresca will be like, you know what, Sally, now that I'm changing my ideas, I just don't need an overlapping left back. That's going to be the duties of the right back. I can understand that, but in the case of Sterling, I can see why he'd be miffed, because everything's come so quickly all of a sudden when there was no indications that his future was definitely on the line like that. If it was communicated really early on, he'd be in a better situation to manage his career, find the best possible options, and you have to realize that if this was revealed at the start of this window, most clubs hadn't even signed the attacking players they wanted. If Sterling was available back then, he might potentially have had better offers, better opportunities, and the timing of this announcement has kind of denied Sterling this possibility. So for myself, I can understand the frustration, but he's taken it like a man, he's accepted he needs to go, fair enough. But listen, I'm not going to stick it on Maresca. In a sense, he has to be a yes man, and I've seen every manager act as one. Pochettino toed the line. He was a massive yes man at the start of his management with us. He was. It was only around January, near the end of the season, where we started to get maybe a few more disagreements that became a bit public from Mauricio Pochettino. So I'm not expecting any madness Maresca right now. I think he's here to play ball. But I think, if I'm to be fair on him, the main reason as to why he's moving like this is that he knows the pressure is on him. He's only prioritizing getting a reduced squad, a focused squad that he can work on and work with. If it means that he has to play the yes man game to make sure that he gets what he needs, so be it. That's football. And a lot of times it's not personal, it simply comes down to finances, business, or footballing reasons. Listen, from a fan point of view, or even a human point of view, it's not nice that, you know, especially in today's world, you can just be discarded and seen as just like a number on a spreadsheet too easily in all industries across the world, right? Because I don't think, like, as humans we operate that way, but that's the nature of the beast right now. And also I think it's a consequence of having a squad size that is too big. And I think that leads on to the final part of this press conference. Naturally, and I think rightfully, Maresca showed a bit of frustration at all these connotations behind having a massive squad to work with. We've all known since pre-season even started that we only brought a 26 to 27 man squad. That included a lot of young players and academy guys to make up the numbers, which is natural. You need to have enough guys that at least have like 2 first 11s, right? But as we've known for a long time, and as Maresca's had to reiterate this last week, he only wants a focused group of 21 to 22 outfield players. And that's what he's getting, and that's what he has. Maresca confirmed that everyone that's not part of that squad or part of the players he wants to work with, they are currently training outside, away from them. Some of these players in the squads include players who are already surplus requirements. You know, players like your Lukakus and Kepas, etc., who we've hoped to get rid of now for consecutive seasons. They also include academy grads getting loan moves or being sold. They do include some first team players surplus requirements as we're seeing from Gallagher, Ben, and Raheem. But they also include some players who were only signed 12 months ago who already are surplus requirements. If I'm Maresca, I won't take the skepticism personally because you've only inherited this. You weren't here from the start. it's not your business. But from the other part of the conversation, you think to yourself, we focus so much time on, in my opinion, unnecessary player recruitment, to the point where players who were recently recruited 12 months ago are already surplus requirements. It's not really communicating master plan, master vision. I read recently that Winston Lee and Stewart are doing like 16-hour plus days every day. And it's like, well, duh, if you're looking to sign new players whilst getting rid of players and sorting players' futures out, you're not gonna have much time to live your life. I think the situation is being managed. I think these players are professionals, and I don't think there'll be much bad vibes or animosity. I think it might be a bit awkward considering everyone's currently in the same building. And listen, ideally, Maresca wouldn't want to be in a situation where he's had to tell 15 players that you're not needed. I'm not going to work with you. That must get pretty awkward after a while. And I feel like when you're put in that situation, you can only just kind of be like cold and to the point and assertive, because what can you do? You've inherited this mess. I hope after this summer, I never see a massive squad size ever again, as having such a big squad size hasn't really given us much advantages of anything. And I think it's pretty ironic that now we're dramatically reducing things now and looking to find some common sense in this group. So my friends, that is the preview conference predicted lineup out the way. Share your thoughts and opinions. How did you feel about Maresca's press conference? How do you feel about the general discourse around the club right now? Let us know in the comment section. And on that note, I will see you guys tomorrow with some more videos and the watch along stream. So make sure you guys are there.